they do even no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, and people make you shout out.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
It is late night broadcast. I didn't expect to come back on tonight, but I've got so many stuff, so I'm going to probably be like a backlog. Or this particular one and the follow-up as well. I thought I should drop it on the platform tonight, and then we can continue with others tomorrow. So if you are still up, if you are not in bed yet, you can share the broadcast. Currently, I am going to stop broadcasting on Facebook for a while because, as usual, they've reported my page again, and they have further reduced those who are going to get the notification. So, and they said that they're going to do that for the next 90 days. So, advice. So, check your notification on YouTube. That's where you're going to be able to know when Mayegun is live. Yes, so we are live, but it's a short broadcast, okay? Maybe the most an hour, but it's going to be a very short one. But it is because there are some information there in that I actually want to put in the diary. A lot of you have a lot of people joined me earlier when I was kind of freestyling on Buhari's apology. I did say the quality of the video was very bad, and there were not much content to back that statement up. So tonight I'm going to share that with you. What he said, Buhari never took responsibility for anything, and a lot of you right now probably should be reminded that Buhari will be leaving the government hopefully in another 37, 36 days. But he is leaving Nigeria worse off. But the project of whitewashing Buhari and his crimes and his atrocities, including the crimes against humanity, everyone who has a case to pursue against Nigeria, personal cases of Buhari's culpability and the people within Buhari's government who participated in genocide, ethnic cleansing, ethnic profiling, and all that. Those of them that have actually run foul beyond even the Nigerian law, the time to start chasing them is almost here. And no wonder they want to start the whitewashing so that they can start telling you, Buhari is already saying it himself, that he is the best thing that happened to Nigeria. If not for him, Nigeria would have been worse off right now. Well, it is better to remind you. Currently, Nigeria is still battling with currency scarcity, which means, despite the fact that they said they changed or recolored your naira because of the criminal politicians who have stolen your money. Abi, now the election or their charade is over, but people are still suffering from that. You are still suffering from that fuel scarcity of paying exorbitantly for it, but you have just learned to cope and manage it. Abi, the terrorists are still very much, kidnapping and committing their crimes. The country, during the election, it was like subsided, but now it's back. They are back, the terrorists. All of these are legacies of Buhari, but it was self-praising himself. Then garbage Shehu now back that up. Like I said, it is like a whitewashing program starting. Somebody said, okay, I think I've mixed that up. It should be 22nd, not 21st. Sorry, that's my bad. If you feel confused by the date, I apologize. Let's make it 22nd. Yeah, and yeah, and no wonder that people were a little bit confused. That is it live or is it old broadcast? It is. So I apologize. Now, Bokwari made this statement yesterday. So we're going to piece the whole thing word for word. Also, you see this man, that is the guy that declared a winner in Adamawa. Now, they haven't declared him wanted though, but he's been suspended. After they suspended him, they now said Bokwari approved that. Now, they now said they don't know his whereabouts. He's supposed to be arrested. By now, he should be in jail. But after INEC denied him, right, he was seen leaving Lagos in a private jet. Now, the private jet and everywhere the jet has been to, the information have been uploaded online, even though Nigerian government pretended to be looking for him. INEC is looking for him. And you remember he was accused of collecting 2 billion naira. The money is actually not just for him. You should know that. So they told Nigerians that they are looking for him. They don't know his whereabouts. DSS doesn't know his whereabouts. But the Nigerians themselves, they've done the FBI job. They've tracked the number on the aircraft, the private jets, and they've tracked it to Ibadan, from Ibadan. They've tracked it to almost every other places he's been to. But the last time they saw this guy at the airport, so it was considered to be like, okay, that's the moment he was leaving. And the flight around that time actually tallies. So if you're looking for him, some people might have an idea, but it doesn't mean they are looking for him. Bokwari, the Calamity, Viable TV, they owns the right to this, I'll say.
I tried to look for the Chief of Defense Staff, the Service Chief, and so on. Thank you very much. Once upon a time, I was in uniform too. Religious leaders and traditional rulers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a very good coincidence for me to say goodbye to you for tolerating me for more than 7.5 years now. It's good to reflect, as one of the speakers did, what used to happen here, attack either in the embassies or other places. In terms of security, security is number one thing, not only in the Northeast, but I think those who want to make us uncomfortable have reached even the federal capital. But I think they have been quite marginalized. We thank God for that. I honestly am counting the days. And luckily, democracy is a real good thing, because otherwise, how can somebody from the other end of Nigeria be the head of state and president for 2 terms? My hometown, in the Niger Republic, is about 8 kilometers. When the Minister of Internal Affairs made his rule about closing filling stations, and it included the filling station quite opposite my house. So I told him that there are some of us that live within 10 kilometers from the border. can he please be more kind to us, those who are living on the border, so that the filling station there will be serving us instead of closing everything. I said this is an opportunity for me to say goodbye to those of you who are here. And I honestly consider myself very lucky. I've been a governor. I've been a minister of petroleum. I have been a head of state, all in uniform. And then I took it up by being in detention. Then I came out. I tried the politicians. I tried 3 times. Ended up in Supreme Court 3 times. And then the 3rd time I came out of Supreme Court, I addressed the press and people who were there. I was expecting sympathy, but they laughed at me. I said, God bless. And the first time I tried, God sent technology, the permanent voter's card. So those fraudulent people who used to go around and said, bring so much money, I will give you 50,000 votes, they cannot do it because they can only give their own card. So God sent PBC. So those fraudulent people became unemployed. I tried 2003, 2007, 2011. And just like the collection here, we are a collection of Muslims and Christians, a person I used to respect a lot talked to me about ethnicity and religion. I said he should stop talking rubbish. I said I tried to be president of this country 3 times. And I ended up in Supreme Court 3 times. Who are
5 minutes. Buhari spoke about himself. His dream was to be president of Nigeria, that's all. Nothing about what he did, because there will be none except the other parts where he spoke for 10 minutes. Half of it, should I say more than half of it, was him thanking his luck that is from a country like Nigeria, where he has no responsibility for anyone. And he said it. He said, I happen to be one of the luckiest. Buhari never really worked outside government in his life. From the moment he was 19 years old, Nigeria has been taking care of him. When he joined others to stage what they call the counter coup in 1966, and then the subsequent killings, coups, war, and everything which he has played prominent roles, is always been rewarded. He got to a stage that he staged a coup himself, overthrew a democratically elected government, yes, and he made himself president. Destroyed the country, ruined the economy, and then he got chased out as well until we got rewarded 30 years later. Now, from 2003, his dream was, if Obasanjo could wear Agbada, why can't he? Not because he had anything or any plan or anything for Nigeria, no. He wanted to be president. So he said he failed 3 times until, according to him, God sent the permanent voters card or something. So around that time, according to him, God kind of gave credibility to the election where the incumbent was defeated and he considered defeat. But when it came to them, now devil condescend solution. But he just wanted to be president, that's all. And now he's the president that is now leaving Nigeria more divided, poorer, more corrupt, and most terrorized. That's his legacy. I want you to hear the other part of his statement. Now, there's another one. Did you notice how dull, uninspiring, Buhari sounds when you speak? That is what you endured for 8 years. You are about to meet the one that is actually like drugged up, mental. That's going to be the new one, which is Tifnumbu. Now, did you see how dull Buhari sounded? Or he's sounding? Uninspiring. And then if you check that on the country itself, have you seen how Nigeria fared in 8 years? A sick man leading the sick in a sick country. Everybody's psycho. The other part.
Who are the Chief Justices of the Supreme Court? Hausa Fulani from Zaria, Anusi man from Niger, and then Ajigawa man, Fulani man, my neighbor. They are all Muslims, they are all from the north. They all voted me out in the Supreme Court. So why does religion and ethnicity work there? I say I will keep on trying because I wouldn't allow anything to stop me. So the first time, yes, I tried, I got it. So, as well as the 5th time, and I think the 6th time. So finally, I can't even wait to go home. If you say tax, I will move to Niger Republic. I think I refuse to say quite a number of things because I asked for it. If I can insist, there is no local government I hadn't been from 2003 and 11. There is no local government I haven't been in this country. And in 2019, when I wanted to go for the 2nd time as president, I visited all the states. And the people that turned out across the country to see me, even if they hadn't voted for me, were more than what anybody can buy or force. So I believe a lot of Nigerians were saying, who is this Buhari who insisted on being voted? I think most of the people turned because of security, not security, because of they wanted to know who am I. Some of the stadiums are full. People were outside. And I assure you that I wasn't giving anybody any kobo because I didn't have enough to give out. But I didn't develop curiosity to see who I was and why I kept on trying in spite of the setbacks. So I'm very pleased for this coincidence. I'm happy for this meeting that the constituency were tolerated me most, the federal capital. You are the people here. For me to say goodbye to you, and I assure you, I deliberately arranged to be as far away from you as possible, not because I don't appreciate the love you have shown for me, but because I think I got what I have asked, and I would rather quietly retire to my hometown. I believe it's safe enough. In spite of technology, it's not easy to get to Daura because, as I said, it's just a few kilometers from the Republic. So I will quietly be sitting there, and I assure you, having been a governor, a minister, then the president twice, I think God has given me an incredible opportunity to serve the country. And thank God for that. So please, whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all human. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they will pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me. I thank you very much.
All classes, you know what they call F level? When you get failure in all the subjects that you take. F9, F8, F9, F8, FF, double F. That is his name.
I just thought I should remind you. Okay. You know, you have heard that of Buhari. He is now a photo. He became a photo. Nigerians don't see him. They don't hear from him. He became a shigidi that people actually like speak for. You know, when you go to the shrine and they carry the kola nut and they like, you won't see anything, you won't hear anything, except the person that is doing the ritual. And they'll say, she should stand up. Oh yeah, my father said you should stand up on your 2 feet. Okay, yes. She should dance around, her prayer has been answered, Abi. Thank you, Baba. My papa said you should dance around. That is exactly what Buhari became. He became a deity that they have to prove to Nigerians that he is alive. They will take pictures. The only appointee that worked with Buhari that did a noticeable job is photographer. Every sector in Nigeria has been corrupted, compromised, or destroyed. They are only existing for existence sake. The only thing for 8 years among Buhari's political appointees noticeable is his photographer. They will publish these fine photos of Buhari, like somebody who is living a baby boy life, fresh, clean, no worries. And then everybody will go there and say, man, look at my president, look at Buhari. So as Nigeria continue to deteriorate, now only Buhari's life and then physical appearances where Nigerians are seeing improvements. Same thing with Pastor Ruga, different style. You know those ones, Sari Shamini Mawobe. Shamini look away con. Or Shamini on notice con. I'm going to look away. I'm going to pretend like I don't know you are taking my picture. Oshibaju and his own photographer, Tolani, they were doing well in that regard. These are the only obvious things. Everything else, failure, F9, F8, FF, FF, everything FF parallel. Now, whatever you feel about Buhari, that's why I just wanted you to hear the other one, another ancestor coming. So, for 8 years, Buhari became somebody that is media people. They will now be uploading 3 seconds video, 5 seconds video, 10 seconds video. Interview, Buhari no the grant. Presidential media chat, nada. The tour of the country to check on what is going on, no. So you just have to go there like you go and see a deity, to go and plead and say, okay, I have come. People now go to Ass Old Rock, to go and see. So Buhari just come out like this packaged, special door baby, that if you want to see him, you have to book appointments. So people are now, governors, everybody, they are now booking appointment to see Buhari. So Buhari, they will now have to decide if they wanted Buhari to be seen in public, when everybody is going to record his video, where he's going to be reading a paper and something like that. It became a reality for 8 years. So everybody was just running hammock. Everyone became law unto themselves, because Buhari, that is their boss, is inside the Ass Old Rock, in the old people's home, where they are like feeding him, pampering him, and all of that, probably just massaging him every day. And why Nigeria born? But whenever Buhari hears something that is of his interest, it will be alive. It will rise to that, and then get whatever he wanted, and it will walk away. And he said it. He said he's been so lucky, because as it is, it wasn't like he was doing any job as your president. Whether your naira is collapsing, whether your currency, whatever is going on, you're on your own. Now he's practically telling them that, please, if the moment I leave all of you, nobody should come back and ask how Nigeria became the most indebted country right now in Africa, the poverty capital of the world, and how come the terrorists have now become the fourth arm of government in Nigeria. They have their own immunity and sovereignty across Nigeria, where they can be prosecuted. So he wouldn't want you to call him on that. He probably wouldn't want you to call him back to come and explain why they were budgeting 3.5 billion naira every year for the Ass Old Rock clinic. Yet, there is no single syringe in that same clinic. Do you know what 3.5 billion naira is? Do you know if you give that to a doctor and say, hey, Dr. Femi, if I give you 3.5 billion naira to set up your own practice, do you think that is something you can sustain? That means if they kind of just leave this Ass Old Rock clinic, are you with me? And they decided to just empower maybe 3 doctors. Okay. Yeah, maybe 1 doctor from every geopolitical zone in Nigeria, and just give them 5 billion naira every year to build a new practice that is actually going to be like government affiliated, like an NHS kind, which means, but it's their business, and let them run it as their business. Okay. Like by now you would have probably built, 8 of such, 1,000 bed, mother and child clinic, specialist hospital here and there, 2,000 bed, because 3.5 billion naira is not a peanut. That's exactly what they are spending on us oral clinic. So maybe if possibly, if somebody wants to be honest with you, for the first time, the propagandists that are coming in, Tifnumbu and gang. So if Tifnumbu finally gets sworn in, as some of you will likely don't want him to. So if Tifnumbu finally got sworn in, they are their own propaganda. They will now have access to so many information that they are indeed going to use as a compromise on Buhari and his other fellow criminals currently enjoying immunity because they have the power. Nigeria is done for. Are you with me? Buhari has gone to the World Bank to go and borrow $800 million. $800 million. They said they want to share the money to 50 million Nigerians. Now, the money has been given to them. Just 1 month to go. Okay? And their minister said they are waiting for the National Assembly to give approval so that they can give approval to go ahead and share the money. $800 million. Nigeria is in debt of over $120 billion. Nigeria is currently serving our debt, not paying, servicing the debt. It'd be like somebody to say, okay, you owe me 100 naira. Now, 100 naira that you owe me, every month, you should be paying me 10 naira. Okay? Now, if you fail to pay me the 10 naira, yeah, I will be charging you 4 naira for every month that you fail to pay me the 10 naira. Remember that. Now, Nigeria has gotten to a stage whereby Nigeria can only pay the servicing of the debt, which is the charges on the debt. Nigeria currently is servicing our debt with almost 100% of our income. What does that mean? Money from petroleum that they are sharing, money from taxes and the rest of them, especially money from taxes, right? Everything they said they expect to generate about 8 trillion, right? Meanwhile, they are going borrowing. So from the 8 trillion, okay, so what do you call it? They are servicing the excess, the charges on it, not even like paying the debt. So the 8 trillion is still, okay, put it this way, $120 billion. The $120 billion is still $120 billion. Nigeria is so broke, right? Nigeria is so poor. Majority of companies that should be paying taxes in Nigeria have packed up. And that's more reason why you have more unemployed people. The more people are not employed, the less revenue government will get. When government cannot make money from you, taxes and all of that, then they will go borrowing at exorbitant interest rates. So in all of this, because Nigeria is not making money, okay, therefore, what Nigeria can afford with what they are making, you are supposed to be paying back 100 naira every month. And now, you are making just 50 naira a month. Now, the agreement is, if you don't pay that 100 naira this month, we are going to charge you 50 naira for not paying your repaying, but it will be called the charges for not paying. So Nigeria is so worse and bad right now that all the revenue Nigeria is getting from taxes, they are using them to just service the debt. Imagine Nigeria saying, oh, we are generating 400 billion naira in taxes. A country of 220 million people, giant of Africa, generating patchy sum of money, right? Because they have stolen the rest. They've shared all the sources of this revenue among themselves. The little they give back is not even enough to pay your debt, but to service it. Nigeria is using almost 100% of our revenue to service debt. Nothing else left. So that is why whatever they make from oil, whatever they make from other leftovers here and there, and how much fuel they can print for them, that's what they share. It was so bad that Nigeria has no money, right? Nigeria wasn't selling a crude oil. Half of Nigerian crude oil was being stolen by APC, 700,000 barrels every day for 7 years. So Nigeria was losing money everywhere. That was when Emefiele started printing money. to cover Buhari. They started doing what they call the means and way or whatever. Before Buhari, before APC in 2015, the total amount of money printed by the Central Bank of Nigeria since 1970. Are you hearing this? From 1970 to 2015, the total amount of money that the Central Bank of Nigeria printed for government of Nigeria was put at 900 billion naira. I am giving you the history of, let's say, 40, 50 years of Nigeria. 40 years of Nigeria that Nigerian Central Bank has been existing, printing money and borrowing, lending money to different governments, the federal government of Nigeria. All of the money they have actually borrowed the federal government of Nigeria, military, civilian, including interim, was less than 1 trillion naira for over 40 years. But in a space of 7 years of APC, Emefiole has printed over 23 trillion naira. This is something like this. So, okay, we need money. You are supposed to just go to your account where you have the money and take the money out. If you don't have enough, you go to a lender and say, please, I need so amount of money to balance this up, but I've got a very good credit. Okay, we expect some money from here because the money we want to take from you, we want to invest them into something productive that will eventually yield more and we can pay you back. Do you understand that now? So that is, you go to your bank. In Nigeria, APC, Egbekegbe Buhari, he will just put a call through to Emefiole. They just tell him how much they want him to print. Emefiole will go into the central bank and he will print money, naira, and they will load them on pallets, and they will load them into different bullion vans, and they will move them all over Nigeria to different government houses. And then when you read the news, they will tell you, Federal Government or Central Bank of FAAC, FAC, no, RMFAC or something they are called, Revenue Mobilization something, the ones that share allocation every month in Nigeria. Then you read it in the newspaper. Nigeria shared 900 billion to state and federal governments. Some of the money were printed. They were minted afresh. And in 7 years, APC printed over 23 trillion naira. But whenever they are telling you about the debt of Nigeria, the gbese of Nigeria, they don't list that. The liquidation they are trying to do, the withdrawal of cash they are trying to do is due to their own oversupply of naira into that economy, because they had to print the money and they are practically handing raw cash to state governors for this past 7 years. So when they turn around and said these governors are probably hiding the money, they want to use it for election. Because of that, they are changing the money. They destroyed businesses. This is them doing all of that too. When they came in, the amount in the excess crude accounts in Nigeria was put at 7.5 billion naira. I have been reading it in some of these junk medias in Nigeria. They are reporting that Buhari met 2.5 billion in excess crude account. That's a junk media. You see? And a lot of them have been repeating that 2.5 billion, 2.5 billion. What happened to the 5 billion missing there? We know the history of the excess crude account in Nigeria. I do. Obasanjo started it. Okonjo Iweala, among those who actually funded that account. And what was the reason? In Nigeria, that depends on the crude oil sale. So they always wait for what is the price of crude oil this month or projected price. For example, the crude oil per barrel, let's say it's $80 per barrel. The economists in Nigeria and budget, people who write their budgets in Nigeria, they will first look at how many quota OPEC is giving to them. OPEC is the oil producing economic, what do they call them again? I've forgotten that. Current affairs. Oil producing economic council or something. the oil producing countries, OPEC, the umbrella body, they give quota of how much crude oil each country that produces crude oil, right, should supply to the markets in order to balance it. You know what I mean? So, where if OPEC says Nigeria has the capacity for, let's say, 3 million barrels a day, and OPEC says, no, Nigeria should be pumping less than that, they'll give them allocation, let's say, 2 million barrels a day. That's how much they expect Nigeria to be pumping into the international market like that, to be moving into the market in order to balance. So if not, they now say, okay, a barrel is $80 a barrel. In Nigeria, they also plan their budgets. This is the history of excess crude account too. Those who plan their budget will then say, okay, if the price is $80 this year, and with the event going on, we expect the oil to rise, the oil price to rise, or we expect it to fall. But in between, what they now do is that they call something benchmark. That benchmark is what they build their budget on in Nigeria. The benchmark is oil price benchmark. So they will say, oh, what we're going to do is this. Let's put the price of crude oil at $50. So now that $50 is what they are going to aggregate with how much they are going to be producing every day. So if the production continues that way, if the price stays on that way, that means Nigeria can run a budget based on that $50 per barrel expectation. Okay? Now, let's say they have now planned their budget that way. They planned how many crude oil they are going to sell, how much they are going to make from it, and how much of it is going to go into what and all that. Projection, budgeting. So the next thing is going to be like, let's now wait. So if the new year now comes, when they want to implement that budget, what they will now do is that, let's say the price of the crude oil is now $110 a barrel. That's an excess of $30. I'm sorry, that's an excess of, their own benchmark is 50. So that's an excess of $60. Usually, they just take the money and share the money. That's what their law says. So it was Obasanjo who put together that excess crude account using his own fiat executive order, because they took him to court for it. Now, what he did was that now any extra money we make from that benchmark, we will not spend the money, we will save the money. So in a space of 5 years, Obasanjo's government saved over $24 billion inside that account. Also, the same Obasanjo took Nigeria foreign reserve from a party about $5 or $7 billion at the time, and he took it straight to $42 billion. Okay, so Nigeria has more money in foreign reserve. Nigeria has more money for the first time in an excess account for the raining day. So according to Obasanjo then and the Okonjo-Iweala, their plan, the reason for doing it was that the day they are going to have a benchmark of $50, even though the oil is always sold for higher than that. But the day they will have the benchmark of $50 for their budget, and the crude oil is going to come down to $20 a barrel. So you see that $30 difference can cause recession in a country. Businesses can collapse, government can collapse for it. So Obasanjo then was like, if such happened to Nigeria, Nigeria can go dip their hand in that money and fill in the gap for months. Do you get that now? Instead of going out to go and borrow money, you just go into your savings and put the money out based on this arrangement. But Nigeria is turn by turn Nigeria Limited, okay? So, APC took Obasanjo to court. Adams Oshiomhole, as well as Isale Barack Obama, Fashola, also Ubima Judas Iscariot, Rotifmi, Amechi. They took, okay, hang on. I'm fast forwarding now. So when Obasanjo left, the balance in that excess crude account was put at $22 billion. 22 billion. Now, when Yaradua came in a space of 3 years, Yaradua, Jonathan, they have depleted the money down to $17 billion. Then Jonathan came in. when Jonathan came in.